Welcome, kids. It's another edition of Super Low Rent Sports Talk Theater. I'm Joe Ovius.
And I'm Chris Clark. And what in God's name are you wearing?
I'm sorry. Let me brush the dirt off my shoulder. In my starter, official starter, 1985 satin jacket.
Wow.
Could you believe that this used to fit my dad at one point in time?
Yeah, a long time ago.
A long time ago. Well, I'm headed to the NC State-Miami game. I figured the one and only time NC State and Miami ever play each other in the Orange Bowl, might as well go check it out, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I figured since it is post-Halloween, I'd go 1985 style. If only I could grow out a mullet, I'd be in business. So how was your Halloween?
Oh, it was good. I felt really good about having 8 trick-or-treaters that seemed to really work out well, considering I spent over $20 in candy.
Whoa. Where the hell? How much candy did you buy?
A lot.
How many bags is that?
Several.
Now, yesterday, during conference call, the ACC coaches were asked what they were once back in the day for Halloween, maybe what they'll be dressing up for this Halloween. The responses were interesting, to say the least. Let's listen in to see what the ACC coaches would have been for Halloween.
Coach, just a quick question for Halloween. What was your favorite Halloween costume you wore ever?
It was the one that I wore last year when I was disguised as a coach.
Thing about Halloween, my wife asked me something about Halloween last night, and I said, I didn't even realize it was Halloween. What was my favorite costume? I think I dressed up as a cowboy one time. Back in Fancy Gap, Virginia, cowboy would have been big.
I can't remember. I really can't. I can't remember what I used to wear back then.
Okay, so let's change the question then. If you had to dress up today, what would you dress up as?
Oh, you put me on the spot. What would I dress up on today? You know what I'd probably do? I'd probably dress up like I'm the President of the United States. How about that one?
For me, back in West Virginia, you know what I had to be? I had to be a hobo. That's all anybody was when I was a kid. Everybody was out being a hobo.
Trying to think of Halloween costumes. I think I went one time as a cowboy when I was a little kid. I had a little Roy Rogers 6-shooters and the cowboy hat and kind of the little bolo tie and stuff when I was probably maybe 5 or 6.
Of course, my favorite was Bobby Bowden, assuming that he's never dressed up because they didn't know how to do that back then. I know that you were a kid before Halloween was technically invented, but come on. You're telling me you never dressed up?
Interesting weekend, to say the least. I think I say that about every Radio Tube podcast that we do. But this week it is for one big out-of-conference game. Out of the ACC, we've got LSU versus Alabama.
How about that? Nick Saban versus Nick Saban's players.
Ooh.
I think in this game, Joe, we're going to have to call a winner. Our friend Colette. Roll the footage.
Oh, God, we love him. Go bowling. Yeah, we bowling, baby. We bowling.
Oh, yeah, regardless of what happens, Colette's the big winner this weekend. But the actual game, this is a big deal. Can Nick Saban derail any hopes of Les Miles and LSU going to a BCS championship game after this?
No, I really don't think so. They might be Nick Saban's players, but LSU's coach, Les Miles, has done better with them. So we like what Nick Saban is doing, but Les Miles is still the top dog in the SEC.
Let's move to another non-ACC game. East Carolina taking on Memphis. East Carolina has been a team that's been a bit up and down. They started off the year slow. They started to find their game. Their big problem, I think, this year, though, Chris, is that they keep putting themselves in a hole in the first half. Really, the first quarter, they've been outscored like no other team has. It really affected them against NC State earlier in the year. But they still have Conference USA hopes in their sights. How do you see this panning out?
They do. Last week, ECU didn't have to worry about a bad first half because they crushed UAB.
Yeah.
The Pirates have a chance at hosting the Conference USA title game if they win out, and that's entirely possible because they're not playing very many good teams. Memphis is tough. I think East Carolina is going to win this one. We like the Pirates by a score of 28. We'll say 17.
Let's move to the ACC, where we'll go with North Carolina. Coming off a bad game against Wake Forest. Really what has to be disappointing for Butch Davis is the way they played. Following a bye week, they got crushed by the Demon Deacons. Here's a game in which, again, winnable game against a Maryland team that's also been up and down. It's back at home. Heels take this one?
No. Maryland's banged up, but
Okay.
they're still a better team than North Carolina. We like Butch Davis. We're just not going to pick this one, despite it being homecoming. Maryland wins by a score of 20-13.
So, North Carolina will continue to be the best 2-7 team in the country then.
You know it.
And now to the game that I'll be going to this weekend, Chris, to the Orange Bowl. Miami, the U taking on NC State. It's been a while since I've walked in the concourse of the Orange Bowl and gotten that lovely aroma of urine. Yes.
That's the smell of failed dreams and past championships.
Yeah, it's been a while. And really, Miami's not any closer to getting back to the glory days when this jacket used to be a really hot item. If only I had the hat, the backwards hat to go along with it, I'd really fit in. But NC State's a team that's now 2-0 in the quote-unquote second season, a gimmick that, hey, is usually coach speak, but I tell you what, the players at NC State have really taken to it. And it's not a winnable game for NC State against a Miami team that on paper is better. It just depends on which Miami team decides to show up.
Well, as far as gimmicks go, I like the second season because it sure as hell beats having your entire team run out onto the field to celebrate the first touchdown of the game.
Georgia.
Yeah. But Tom O'Brien, I think, has a good chance to win this game. Miami doesn't have a quarterback right now. Kirby Freeman, Kyle Wright, what's the difference? They're both bad. If Daniel Evans continues to have good games like he has the past two, then the State can win that game.
We'll see what happens. It'll be an entertaining game. What do we have? What do we have score-wise?
You tell me. Miami honk.
Miami honk?
You're the one wearing the satin jacket.
I just wore it for Halloween purposes. Maybe to kind of take me back to my roots.
Sure you did. This is on you, kid, because you're an NC State grad and you grew up a Miami fan, so you're going to have to pick a side here.
I'm gonna I like NC State in this game. I'm gonna go NC State 21, Miami with a score of 14.
You know your father's embarrassed right now.
Absolutely, but that's why I wore the jacket to ward off any sort of bad feelings from my dad.
Remember,
Love
Mr.
you, Dad.
O, I'm still your guy.
Yeah, right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for another edition of Super Low Rent Sports Talk Theater. That's Chris Clark, who, you need a satin jacket, son.
No, I don't.
Come on.
Not
I'm
really.
gonna go on eBay for Christmas. I'm gonna get you you're a cowboy guy,
No.
right?
No.
Weren't you a cowboy guy?
No.
I'm getting you a cowboy satin jacket, and you at home, you can play along too. Send us some photos of you in your satin jackets. We'd really appreciate it.
On our way out on this broadcast, since Joe's going to Miami, can I get a David Caruso clip?
Burn, baby, burn.
And that's going to wrap up another edition of Low Rent Sports Talk Theater.
You know it.